I think the mentality of the group is something um, that was solidified in this last road trip. Um, it's a very gutsy performance, very professional performance, really top quality performance in difficult conditions in Seattle to advance into a final after losing a final. So I couldn't be happier for the boys that they were rewarded with their performance from their performance with the result, and um, that we're carrying over now into the MLS, which starts up again. Really, no time to think or breathe. Only time to recover against a good Houston team who I thought played well in their last game, but didn't come up with points. So I'm sure they'll be hungry, and will make the necessary changes. We haven't seen them yet this season, but the last time we saw them was in the playoffs here at BMO. So it'll be, I think, a close game, as it always is against them. I think the more we can put the game on our terms, the better off we'll be.
We'll go to questions in person.
Just because you're on the Dynamo Hub, preparing for a team that likes to possess the ball a lot, and their intentions on possessing a lot. How do you prepare for that?
Try to possess the ball more. I think making teams uncomfortable, making them defend more than they want to or normally need to is the key. Also disrupting their rhythm when they have the ball. They are excellent when given time and space, especially in the middle of the park, and I think that's something we are aware of, and we'll try to minimize tomorrow.
Probably not going to have a week quite like that again, where you have a final and a semifinal both on the road. Is there a moment? Obviously, it's very demanding. There's a moment that you look back and say, "I'll remember that." To see, just to take this week for what it was, to see the unique circumstance that it was.
Yeah, I think the moment is the makeshift locker room at Starfire for the coaching staff is basically just some drapes and some chairs. I think that's the moment for us, culminating a pretty long road trip, and then coming away with obviously a very important victory to host a U.S. Open Cup final at BMO.
The disappointment of obviously Sunday. What you take from how this team was able to respond? Because obviously that's very difficult, especially when you don't get to come home and recharge the batteries. But what that team did in your eyes that made that
So
result
so
possible?
much has happened from now and then. It's all been spoken about and forgotten. We've moved on.
How's the team looking? I know obviously Jesus is probably a little longer, but the rest of the squad, how's it ahead of this game?
Yeah, everybody seems to be healthy, other than Moody, which obviously was a big blow. But yeah, everybody else came out of the last game fine, and we've been able to, to add Olivier and Edward.
There was a photo with they had the Murillo jersey. Obviously, that was a nice moment to the teams that it came from them to just to acknowledge him there as well.
Yeah. I have not much control around here, so those things definitely don't get past through my desk. It's great to see him. Murray's a big part of this team, and the boys love him. We all do, and we're hoping for a speedy recovery.
10 games in the MLS season before playoffs roll around. Obviously, taking this one game, it's a precious one because you have 4 home games in the last 10. The goal in mind to get here out of these games.
Well, considering the schedule, I think there's 9 games in 30 days or something like that, which is pretty incredible at this stage in the season. So it's really managing minutes and loading and protecting players and trying to at the same time to maximize your points to finish out the season. We all know how important that is. It just carries on into the next season. We came up a point short last season to not have a semifinal conference semifinal at home against Seattle. In this last tournament, a final, 1 point difference between us and Columbus, the final at BMO. So there, are such small differences. And when you think about last year, I hate to go back, but there was missed chances down the road or down the stretch of the season to gather a point here and a point there, 2 missed penalties. in one game, or a missed breakaway against Vancouver in the second to last game, which puts you, last game, sorry, which puts you, kind of where you want to be for the following season, these other competitions. So it's all connected somehow. We don't need to get into whether that's just or not, but maximizing your points for the last 10 games are important. At the same time, maintaining the health of the group and physically and mentally is also important leading into the playoffs.
So you would have had next week off. Obviously, it's a rescheduled Houston. They have an October international, which has also been filled. Is this just kind of the MO of LAFC that you got to have because of the success? If you play for this team, you're gonna be kept pretty busy.
Yeah, it seems that way. I don't make the schedule or in charge of the rules, but it seems the more success you have, the harder it gets. And I think the only thing you might get is some home field advantage. But again, we have been on the non-receiving end of that the last 2 years, so we're on the receiving end of that in year one. Since I've been here at LAFC. So it has its give and takes. We all understand the rules prior to competitions and accept them. So all the more reason not to just throw games away, and every point counts.